I thought my wife was just working late, until our daughter's iPad synced her iCloud and I discovered 8 months worth of love messages with her married boss, so I exposed them at the company Christmas gala in front of everyone, and watched as both their careers, marriages, and reputations went up in flames. I should have known something was wrong when Isabella started putting her phone face down. 7 years of marriage, and suddenly she's protective of a device that used to sit between us during dinner. It's just work stuff, she'd say when I glanced at the screen lighting up at 11 p.m. Alexander is dealing with the merger. You know how demanding he gets. Alexander. Her boss. The married father of 3 who'd been mentoring her for the past 8 months. I told myself I was being paranoid, that successful women have demanding careers. Sarah had always been ambitious. That's what I fell in love with. But when she started showering as soon as she got home, when she stopped looking me in the eye during sex, when our daughter Emma asked why mommy was always on the phone in the garage, I knew. We'd built something real together. 7 years, a mortgage, joint bank accounts, a 6-year-old who had my eyes and Isabella's stubborn streak. Isabella used to wake up before me just to make my coffee the way I liked it. We'd talk for hours about everything and nothing. She was my person. My best friend. The woman who held my hand through my father's funeral and cried harder than I did. But somewhere along the way, that wasn't enough anymore. Maybe it was her promotion, the new power suits, the way Alexander looked at her during meetings. Maybe it was social media showing her all these other lives she could be living. Her single friends were always posting about their adventures, their freedom, their passionate romances. You're so lucky to have stability, they'd tell her, but their eyes said something else. Their eyes said she was settling. The messages were all there on Sophia's iPad. Isabella had forgotten she'd synced her iCloud account months ago for Sophia's school photos. Pages and pages of them. Can't stop thinking about yesterday. When can we be alone again? I've never felt this way. And Alexander's responses, equally pathetic. You make me feel alive again. My marriage has been dead for years. We deserve this happiness. 2 middle-aged people destroying their families for what? The thrill of sneaking around like teenagers? The fantasy that the grass was greener? I read every message with a sick fascination. The way they talked about their spouses like we were obstacles to overcome. How they planned their hotel meetings around our schedules. How Isabella complained about me being too comfortable, about how I didn't surprise her anymore. The worst part was reading how she justified it to herself. We're not bad people, she'd typed. Sometimes life just happens. What we have is special. I can't help how I feel. Like feelings were enough to excuse destroying 2 families. Like passion justified the lies she told Sophia about why mommy had to work so late so often. I screenshotted everything. Every message. Every photo. Every late-night confession about how they were soulmates who'd found each other too late. My hands shook as I found his wife's Facebook profile. Evangeline. Pretty blonde woman with 3 young kids, always posting about family game nights and Alexander's work achievements. Posted photos of their Disney vacation just last week, everyone smiling in matching Mickey ears. The company Christmas gala was that Saturday. Isabella spent 2 hours getting ready, curling her hair the way she used to for our anniversary dinners. I need to network, she said, applying lipstick in the mirror. Spouses aren't really expected at these work things. You understand, right? I kissed her goodbye and told her I loved her. She barely looked at me. Then I sent Evangeline every screenshot, along with a simple message. I thought you should know what your husband has been doing with my wife. I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but they've been having an affair for 8 months. These are their messages. My phone stayed silent until 12:47 a.m. Then Isabella called, screaming, crying, begging me not to ruin everything over what she called a moment of weakness. I hung up and turned off my phone. The fallout was immediate and nuclear. Evangeline had confronted Alexander at the gala in front of half the company's executive team. Partners, clients, board members, all watching as a woman in a cocktail dress held up her phone and read their messages aloud. Is this the merger you've been working so hard on, Alexander? With Isabella Chen from marketing? By Monday morning, both Isabella and Alexander were fired. The company had a strict morality clause about workplace relationships, especially between supervisors and subordinates. HR called it a clear violation of professional boundaries and company values. Isabella's 8 years of building her reputation, her corner office, her team of 12 people, gone in one meeting. She moved in with her sister within a week. I filed for divorce and primary custody before she could even find a lawyer. The evidence was overwhelming. Text messages planning hotel meetups while Sophia was at soccer practice. Photos they'd sent each other. Restaurant receipts from places she'd told me she was eating alone. The judge took one look at the documentation and awarded me primary custody with supervised visitation until Isabella could prove she was in therapy. Sophia doesn't understand why mommy only comes on weekends now. Doesn't understand why mommy cries every time she drops her off. Doesn't understand why all her friends' parents look at mommy differently at school pickup. 6-year-olds aren't supposed to learn that people who love you can lie to your face for months. Alexander's wife cleaned him out completely. House, kids, savings, 401k, she took everything. He's living in a studio apartment near the airport, working at some startup for a third of his previous salary. Nobody in the industry wants to touch him. Word travels fast when you blow up your career for an affair. Isabella can't find work anywhere. Her references won't return calls. Her networking contacts have dried up. She's waitressing at a chain restaurant, coming home with sore feet and grease stains, barely making enough to cover her studio apartment rent. The woman who used to give presentations to Fortune 500 executives is asking people if they want to make that a combo meal. They tried to make their great love work for about 2 months after everything exploded. Turned out removing the secrecy and forbidden fruit aspect made their relationship feel pretty ordinary. Without the thrill of sneaking around, without the fantasy of being star-crossed lovers, they were just two unemployed middle-aged people dealing with custody battles and financial ruin. Alexander broke up with her over text. Our friends chose sides. Most chose mine. Isabella's own mother barely speaks to her after what she put Sophia through. Her sister tolerates her but makes passive-aggressive comments about destroying your family for a fantasy. The book club she'd belonged to for 5 years doesn't invite her anymore. Her gym buddies, her college sorority group, her neighbors, they all know. Small town, big mouth. I see her sometimes at Sophia's school events. She sits in the back now, arrives late and leaves early. She looks smaller somehow, like she's trying to take up less space in the world. Her hair's grown out, roots showing. The confident woman who used to run parent-teacher conferences and organize fundraisers has been replaced by someone who seems surprised anyone still talks to her. She tries to catch my eye sometimes, maybe hoping for some sign of forgiveness, some crack in the wall she built between us. But there isn't one. You don't get to spend 8 months lying to your husband and child, planning a life with another man, and expect everyone to just move on because you're sorry now. The worst part is watching Sophia try to make sense of it all. She's started asking why families break up, why some mommies and daddies stop loving each other. I tell her that sometimes adults make very bad choices that hurt the people they love. She asked me if mommy stopped loving us. I didn't know how to answer that. Sophia used to light up when Isabella walked through the door. Now she's polite, distant. She hugs her mother but doesn't curl up in her lap anymore. Doesn't ask her to read bedtime stories. Doesn't beg her to stay for breakfast. Kids know when they can't trust someone, even if they can't articulate why. Isabella threw away everything real for something that was never going to last. A stable marriage, a daughter who adored her, friends who respected her, a career she'd built over years, all sacrificed for the fantasy that someone else could make her feel young and desired again. Now she gets to live with that choice every single day, watching our daughter grow up part-time, knowing she's the reason our family doesn't exist anymore. Some mistakes you don't come back from. Some choices echo forever.